Hello, ZBHO world. My name is Spicer McLeroy, and welcome to ZBrush Hangouts Meshed Up Live. Tonight we have some amazing friends and artists. I am humbled and artist. Oh, I always say that, humbled and honored to host tonight. And everybody knows the rules of the show. We have an hour and a half to sculpt on a theme. Tonight's theme is Silent Hill, either any of the movies, any of the games, any of the artwork, any mix-up, mashup. If you want to do Super Mario, Silent Hills, that's fine. It's whatever you want to do, right? So for tonight's artist panel, we do have Gary Labe back with us again.
It's been too long.
It's been too long. Julian.
How's it going?
K-Mac.
Hello.
King's Letter.
What's up?
Raph Grassetti. Raph Pazente. Raphael Pazente. And then Roger Pere, a.k.a. Cuban Thunder, a.k.a. Cafe Con Leche.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we are going to start. I'm gonna use my Siri. Hey Siri.
Oh my
Start a timer for 1 hour, 30 minutes.
He got that from me.
Woo! I love this new phone. All right, so go ahead and start.
Boom. Done.
1 hour and 30 minutes. So let's do a quick mic check, Gary. Let everybody know who you are, what you do, where they can find you.
My name is Gary Labe. I am a concept artist and illustrator, currently working freelance, and I'm also an author with not yet a published book, but working on it. You can find me on ArtStation at a website that has a link to it. And I will get you that site as soon as I go over to my profile. Let me just double check.
I got you. I got your
right.
ArtStation right here.
It is Gary_Labe_art.artstation.com.
There you go.
There you go.
All right. And we also have Julian. Julian, quick mic check for us, please, brother.
Mic check. Let's do that. And so, how's it going? My name is Julian Moran. I'm a studio artist at McFarlane Toys. You can find me on ArtStation at Julian Moran something ArtStation. We'll put a link up there.
Yeah, I got you. Here we
Nice.
go. And then we also have Ad, who's always late. I don't know why. It's just his thing. He's just always late. I don't know. But he's here now.
Not always late. Come
Come on, man. Come on. Give me a little bit of credit.
It just happened one time. All right.
Right. So let everybody know who you are, what you do, and where they can find you at.
Right. I am Ad Lazy. I am a freelance 3D character artist. Okay, you can find me on ArtStation on Adrian M. I do a lot of crazy characters. I like to do creatures and aliens and like all sorts of crazy stuff, like non-standard, because I just love that kind of stuff. That's pretty much it. You can also find me on Instagram. You feel free to contact me for freelance work, but make sure it's something good, because otherwise I'm not going to accept it.
All right, that's it.
All right, that's it. All right, K-Mac.
Stop.
All right, Karen, let them know who you is, what you do.
I am a character artist and I work on sports games. And you can find me at KMactastic or Karen McCarthy on ArtStation. And that's it.
Nice. And King's Letter. Let them know who you is, what you do.
I'm King's Leather, also known as Amir. That's my real name, and I'm a 3D character artist. I mostly do collectibles, and I'm just making my way into video games. And you can find me as King's Letter on ArtStation. And yeah,
I'm putting in the links for everybody's ArtStation in the chat, so make sure you click and follow. Raph, let them know who you are, what you do, man.
Hey guys, what's up? I am a 3D modeler / 2D artist / creative director of a social media company. I get paid for the latter. and you can find me at Hafa Digital Arts on Facebook. That's RAFA, then Digital Art, all one word.
And Roger, let know who you is.
Hello everyone. My name is Jeff. I'm a freelance character artist. You can find me in Facebook under Roger Perez, and also my stuff is in ArtStation under Roger P.
There you go. So what are you gonna be making for us tonight, Dad?
Not sure yet. I'm just browsing through the reference. I'll figure it out.
Horrible. Anyway, Gary, is obviously a professional. What are you gonna be doing?
Well, I never played Silent Hill. I'm gonna do one of those armless tweaker things, but I'm gonna try to do it where I can fuse the arms into the body, so just like the hands are sticking out opposite sides of the body.
All right,
I don't
so I'm
know.
gonna scratch that off the list. Thanks, man.
Except I'm gonna give mine. I'm gonna give mine.
Okay.
Wait. This is how it differs. Boom. Mine's got a fucking mustache.
All right.
Nice.
Oh, that's good. I'm
Nice.
Nice.
That's epic.
So you're never so Silent Hill isn't your favorite universe?
No, mostly because of my hyperactive imagination, thinking that shit's real. So, yeah,
You never know. You never know.
No, I know is the thing, and it is.
That just means you never know that it could actually be real.
But he knows it's real. That's what he's saying. No. That's cool.
You never know what could happen when you go to bed tonight.
I'm glad you're conquering your fears for us tonight, Gary.
I'm gonna do the numb body.
I feel like he's gonna sue us later.
All right, for
Just you.
Who makes it?
Oh my god, I just got sued by Gary Labe. That's the best day ever.
it's better than a signature. And Julian, what are you gonna be doing tonight?
Oh man, the crazy no face nurses, one of them ladies.
Oh, the bubblehead nurses. All right.
Yeah.
Nice. And K-Mac, what you got on your mind? What you gonna be sculpting?
I'm gonna be doing Aglaphodus. Can you tell I have not played this game? A red liquid obtained from refinement of a herb, the same name. His ability to dispel demonic forces and grant protection against such forces to those who use the item. And one picture I found, it looks like there's a red beam sitting in a locket. So yeah, real passionate about this one.
Obviously.
Really excited.
I could tell. This is gonna be great. Yeah.
It's gonna be your best work yet.
You're still gonna
I
win
like
the
the
show.
one thing that's not scary. Yeah, I'm like Gary. Those games, like BioShock, was hard for me to play. So
Really?
What?
I would make people seasick. Like if they're watching me play, just I'd just freak out moving the camera around. Yeah, I'm not really a horror game type person.
I played the first one. I played the first Silent Hill, and I was scared. Like, oh my god, it was so bad. Because you only had a flashlight, and the radio would start adding more and more static to it the closer and closer you were to an enemy, but you really wouldn't be able to see them until they were right up on you. And oh my god! And that was the last one I played.
No thanks.
I know enough about it because of pop culture, so I know Pyramid Head, and then the nurses with strategically placed holes in their clothing, and then some multi-arm thing. About it.
Oh, pretty segmented concepts. I blame it all on King's Letter. What are you doing over here, King?
Doing a zombie human creature with a long neck, but then his arms are in a straitjacket, but the straitjacket is his loose stretched skin.
Juicy.
Shit.
Yeah, that design always freaked me out, dude. Ugh. It's disgusting. Why would you even choose this thing? All right, Raph, what's
Yeah.
what's going on over here, dude?
Classic pyramid head, bro.
Yeah, you gonna buff him up? You gonna thin him out? What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna buff him out, man. I wanna, show off my anatomy skills, so.
Mm-hmm. So you're
Gonna
doing that
just-
Scott Eaton?
Show some of that Scott Eden. Go for that Mr. Universe look.
Yeah, Scott Eaton's fucking badass. He teaches anatomy really well.
Oh, he's a bad motherfucker, man. He's not. He's real good. He just gets it on such a technical level that, like, you got to be a doctor to really know his information.
So which version or which workshop did you get?
The one where it's just anatomy. You really don't do any ZBrush or anything. You do mostly acrochase, which is really just like, he tells you exactly where muscles attach and how they interlock and like the way the muscles behave and their function. And then he just shows you like different, like he goes from like medical pictures all the way to just athletic photos, and he finds images that really like won't confuse you, because like if you just try to Google search, you see so much variation, you don't know what's right. But like he just breaks it down in a very manageable way, and then you just it, and then you can just start applying the information.
Yeah, his dynamic figure sculpting course was super badass.
Oh, that's coming up after I do the anatomy course. That's
Yeah.
I feel it's like the precursor to take this one first.
Mm-hmm. Here, I need to retake that. Been a while.
I didn't want to say anything, but yeah, you do.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate that. I appreciate the honesty. And what about you, Roger? What are you sculpting over here?
I didn't know which one to pick because I'm not familiar with the whole game either, but I found one pretty cool. It's called Missionary. She has some yes. I mainly picked it because of the name. So I'm just gonna say that. But yeah, she just got some like metal pieces going into her, like the side of her head, into her eyes. Typical Silent Hill stuff.
Nice. Well, thank you all for being here. Thanks for being on the show. This theme came from like this day in gaming history. Silent Hill was released. So it was either this or Prince of Persia or Grand Theft Auto.
Oh, nice.
I don't know anything about any of those games. I know a little bit more about Prince of Persia, but not enough to be like, oh yeah, there's the prince and then there's Persia.
Yeah, just Jake Gyllenhaal and then what was her name? Gemma Adderton? Is that? Yeah, you mean.
Right, I'm almost done.
Nice.
Yeah, where y'all at?
So has anyone seen Coco yet? I want to go check that out.
Yes.
It's pretty damn
I
good.
watched it last week. It's one of the most beautiful Pixar movies.
Yeah, I literally.
I'm not saying something because Pixar knows a thing or two about animation.
Mm-hmm.
And storytelling too.
Oh,
I almost did make it because I was watching it with my wife and kids.
Oh, nice.
Is it better than that Day of the Dead movie? Sorry, Day of the Dead animation we did a while back.
If you had to choose between Pixar and Disney, what
Pixar.
would you- Yeah, I know.
My question is that, Ed?
Pixar all the fucking way, dude.
Yeah, dude.
well, yeah, Pixar.
I can't really. Well, they did like one bad movie, which was like Cars 2. That's it.
I think it was Cars 3. Cars
Oh.
2, actually, I really kind of enjoyed.
I mean, and even then, you can just like blame it on Larry the Cable Guy if you want to just take that route.
Oh yeah, that's the
I
easiest
blame,
route.
I blame a lot of stuff in my life on Larry the Cable Guy. Okay.
Get her done.
Get her done.
Oh God.
So what do you think of it, Julian?
Yeah, it was definitely worth seeing for sure. It grabs you right and feel good. However, it was such a late movie. My kids are now being spoiled, and I'm trying to keep my mic quiet because they're screaming in the background. But it's worth seeing for sure. But
Did you just see it tonight?
yeah, I mean, like we just got back like 20 minutes ago. So trying to get my kids ready for bed, and they're just not having it.
Right. All right. Did anybody else see it?
No, I didn't see it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go check it out tomorrow. I was gonna go see it like opening night, but then I was like, well, wait, this might be a musical.
No.
And then
I hate
like,
those. That's
yeah,
why I
yeah, Moana. I got like 15 minutes in, I had to stop. I couldn't.
I don't know why they insist on doing musicals. Like, is that necessary?
One thing I will say is that I hated the Frozen short at the beginning. No spoilers, but that's a long short.
Wait, there's a Frozen short?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So it's not really a short. It's more of like a.
It's like a medium compared to the movie. But it's definitely geared. That particular animation is definitely geared towards kids,
Mm.
and not adult kids either, like little kids.
Oh, good. I appreciate it when like they do like kid show throwing stuff for the adults, like the parents.
Yeah,
Like when you watch Justice League, like the Flash goes like, fastest man alive, and then like, what's the name of the hot girl again?
Gal Gadot.
Yeah, I think she goes, no wonder you can't get any dates, and it's just like as an adult, you're like,
Don't talk about Justice League. No.
Talk about that and just
Oh, I'm sorry. Is that why I got awkward?
I was waiting
It's the
for
greatest movie ever made. What are you talking about?
all right. Amazing.
take that, Titanic.
Oh.
Horrible. So what's up with this book, Gary?
What is up with this book?
What is it?
I started jumping back into the animations. I know what I'm doing. Shit. Started jumping back into the illustrations for it a few weeks back. I had a little bit of a hiatus where I wasn't feeling creative.
Right.
So yeah, and now I'm going pretty great guns on it. At least on the illustration part. The story is still being tweaked. I'm waiting for a couple other beta readers to get back to me on it. But hopefully I will be able to start shopping it around like next year sometime.
Why don't you self-publish it, man?
That thought had occurred to me. The only problem is that I don't have the resources. Like I don't know anything about self-publishing. I know that a lot of it is, fairly automatic right now, but I also don't have the wherewithal for like marketing and stuff like that. And I know that publishers actually have a lot bigger distribution than I would be able to get.
Is the possibility of maybe a digital distribution where there's no overhead? Is that like something you've considered?
You just said stuff that I don't understand. So that explains everything I know about publishing.
Well, I mean, like, I'm just trying to be fancy. Like, I just mean, like, have you considered just, like, just releasing it digitally?
Oh yeah, I have, and I need help with like layout and all that other stuff to make sure that I just want to get the book done first, and then see where I'm at, see if there's any interest out there, because it's not going to be like a typical, it's like an actual novel, so it's like 300 some pages, and I want there to be a ton of illustrations in it. So I'm trying to see if there's a market for that kind of stuff. Because normally if you have like a Harry Potter book, there's minimal illustrations, like a chapter header, and then that's about it. But this is going to be Harry Potter-ish with a lot more illustration work.
Oh,
I think it'd be way more interesting to have that because, like, when you were talking about like a chapter, they'll have like an image there. It's like what you read the entire chapter for is that little image, and then you go on, and it's kind of like that little treat at the end of every chapter. So I think it would be cool to have a book like that, just full of really nice illustrations.
It's not like a graphic novel. It's like a legit book with.
It's like straight up, like almost 100,000 words, like a full-on book, like a novel. Yeah.
Nice. Yes. I thought for whatever reason I was under the impression that you were making a graphic novel.
No, everybody does actually. You're not the only one. A lot of people think that I'm doing a graphic novel, and I have to say, nope, it's a bit longer than that.
Oh wow.
Less pictures, thankfully.
But that's still awesome, though, man.
I'm really excited. I want people to read it more than anything. Like, even if they hate it, I just want to know.
Well, I mean, you said how long is it, right? As of currently?
It is, I want to say 347 pages or something like that.
247 pages. Wow, that's a lot. We got a lot done so far. That's
Thank you. And I started the second. It'll be a series, so I started the second novel actually also.
wow. Damn.
That's great, dude. Oh my god.
It's what
Yeah,
I
no,
read.
for real, congratulations.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's what I want to be doing. Like I want to be
Mhm.
writing and illustrating my own stuff.
So what
Because,
set you down this path? Because like plenty of people think about, hey, I'm gonna write a book, and then they
Well,
start and they're like, nah, maybe I'll just read a book. You know?
Nah, maybe I'll just say the word book.
maybe I'll just see the movie.
I have always been like telling stories, at least whenever I would draw a picture. And I have a number of short stories that I'd written, never published also. But I was working with a friend to do art and co-author a book set in the world of Oz. And that one we self-published. And what I really wanted to do was something on my own. At the time, I'd been working in all these different studios in-house, you know, trying to make a living, trying to make a name for myself when nothing would really come of it. I would just be collecting a paycheck. I'd be having fun, but it wasn't feeding me at all. If that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I would I started. There's an event in November that happens called NaNoWriMo, National Novel Writing Month, and where you sit down and you write 50,000 words in a month and try to have a complete story by the end of the month. Well, I started writing my book a little bit before that, so by the end of November, I actually had like 70 or 80,000 words.
Oh, nice.
And I just kept writing. I just kept working on it. And then up until not this past October, but the October before, I was working at NCSoft in San Mateo as one of their 2 senior concept artists, and I left with my wife's blessing. It just wasn't. It wasn't making me happy. I was not enjoying myself anymore. So I left to work on this book, and I devoted the entire year for it. And only recently have I started like getting back into freelance and looking for more work. But like it was a rare treat for me to actually just be able to roll out of bed and work on something just for myself.
Right.
Wow,
And
that's awesome.
I got to do that for the whole year. So yeah, it's still pushing me forward. It's still something I would prefer to do. You know, in an office all day.
Oh yeah.
Not be in my pajamas.
And I'm here taking this shit for granted. Jesus, man. I'm really glad, dude. It really makes me happy when I hear like stories of people that, you know, they get out of their their zone of discomfort, you know.
Yeah.
Like I recently had a friend who was working at Gameloft here in Romania, Cluj-Napoca, and he just quit and he started freelancing, and he is so happy. He's just like, every time I go out with him, he's like, oh man, dude, this is fucking life, and I'm like, well, I know, right?
Dude, for real, like I was always so scared to do freelance because I'm like, no, there's no secure paycheck coming in. And then I did it, and I like
it, you know?
Yeah, and I sat and I got my first gig randomly. There, I found somebody on this website. I'm like, oh my god, I love your work. I actually played this game that you made. He's like, thanks. Do you want to do some character concept art? I said, yes, I do. So yeah, it was like an official, like my first big freelance job, and it paid the bills, and it wasn't overly troublesome. It was a lot of fun, and yeah, I'm like, I could do this for a while.
And I think the diversity of the jobs that you get can also help you grow as an artist, you know?
Yeah, I agree. The guy was an art director. Actually, we were talking about Pixar earlier, and he was actually an art director at Pixar at one point.
Nice.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so he knows his stuff. He knows how to create worlds, and yeah, he was phenomenal to work with.
Nice.
So you're like, where do you learn all that stuff? It seems like it's it's almost secret knowledge, like when it comes to that, like world building and making everything believable. Like there's,
Just
I
think
mean,
about
I'm pretty sure it's very foundational, but then it just gets into the intricacies of its execution, and it's like,
just think about how we learn 3D. You know, like
mhm.
it's knowledge that people just like see as being so obscure. You know, if they try to get into it.
Well,
But they have all these resources. I'm sure there are resources for story builders. And,
it's harder to find resources on writing. I find it's not like I can find like a ton of tutorials on drawing and 3D. Everybody has a tutorial on YouTube, but I feel like writing is just a little more out of your way.
I never learned, like, I took creative writing when I was in high school. God, so long ago. But I never learned writing. I started being able to tell stories by doing concept art, actually. Like you would tell stories to yourself, or you come up with answers to, you know, who the characters are that you're designing and where they live and how life affects them, who their family is, that kind of shit. And then you start to create these stories in your head. Where did this scar come from that he got, you know?
Like just like any other art form, as you know, whether it's painting, sculpting, you always start with broad strokes. So you're always blocking things out with big and major shapes. So I feel like writing would be the same thing. You need to try and get the major things, the big things overall in your story and in your world, and then you slowly just make your brush smaller and go into the detail and just start working on the smaller stuff.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Like for writing a book, the most important thing to start out with is just getting words on the page. Don't worry about spelling, don't worry about plot, don't worry about any of that stuff. Just get the words on the page. And then once your book is down, once your words are on the page, then go back and edit and fine tune, and you know, you'll go through and fine tune. Can't tell you how many times, and I'm still working on it to make it perfect.
I can barely wait to start working on my own little universe that I'm trying to build.
Do it.
The difficulty I'm having with my book, which I'm still working on, is just that the scene weave and coming up with like just the way events should link up. Like, you know, you write out the outline. Okay, this event needs to happen to this event. This is how I'm building up, you know, drama and suspense. But like sometimes I feel like, okay, well, how would characters organically get from this point to that point?
Yeah, that can be tricky. And I'd like to tell you that there's a secret to that. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was always interested. Like whenever you watch a movie and it's got a really good story and it's comparable to other really good stories, it seems like there's a formula to it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and so I was looking around, you know, it's like, you know, there's got to be some formula or some structure, and started looking around, and there's this guy on YouTube. His name's Cal, Kal, last name Bashir, Bashir. And he will take any movie and he'll break it down. And the first thing he does is like, okay, everybody thinks that a story is a linear from beginning to end, but actually what it is a circle. And it's all about the character trying to find his home again, but he has to go through a series of tribulations before he can go home again. And and so he puts it out into a circle, and he's like, okay, and these are all the beats and everything. And then he breaks it down even more. And he wrote this huge book of all the symbolism and all these acts and all these chapters. And it's kind of like a value meal or something like that. It's like, oh, I want the burger with the onions and the pickles, you know, and stuff like that. And it's kind of like that, but for writing, because you have all these different chapters that lead into all these other kind of different chapters and so forth and so on until you get to the end, and it's all like based off of Oscar award winning, you know, scripts and books and all this stuff. And it makes, for me, like the way I work is give me the box and then I can play around in it and outside of it. But if I don't have the box, then I get I don't know, you know, kind of like where to go. Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's like you're talking about like the thing where they're saying that it's the only story that's
the hero's journey.
The hero's journey. Yeah, that's the only thing. It's the thing that we empathize with, you know. And there's been like cave paintings. It's the only story that's been told for ages, you know. Like,
yeah, I mean, on its broadest term, every story needs to like have a moral or something to say or a lesson. That's the whole point. The most simplest stories, like the very simple, like even like the Greek myths, they always have like a moral to them. Like, oh, this happened to this character, so don't do that.
Mhm.
But and it's funny because you said like yeah, we have all these people like breaking it down for us, like these guys, and you watch it like, oh, okay, I understand why they did it. When it comes to applying it, it's just as them saying, well, Kobe makes slam dunks and 3 shots by doing this. And you're like, oh, okay, but then you gotta do it, and it's just like, oh, I'm not slam dunking or making threes right now. So it's just like,
I don't get it.
Exactly what Kobe does.
but no, it's and it's funny because like I'm an artist. Like if I go from 3D or 2D to 3D, a lot of stuff carries over. It's like, okay, well, anatomy, this carries over. Like writing, it's like, okay, well, let's start from square A, square one, because that's where you're at right now. It's like, shit, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but it seems like creation is like the same thing. It's foundation, then rhythm, and then detail.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, absolutely. It's funny because like a lot of writers they just start writing the story right off the bat, and it's like starting to draw just the hand without actually making like the gesture and the blocking end. So I'm like, no wonder they fail.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's exactly what I try to get as much feedback from people as possible, especially from other writers that I knew. But for the most part, it's just I drew inspiration from classic fairy tales like Aesop's Fables and Brothers Grimm, that kind of stuff.
Right.
And then try to figure out how to put my own spin on it because I'm not a Brothers Grimm. I'm just this guy. But yeah, it's and then I just started writing. Like I found out that I discovered that my artwork actually inspired a lot of the story because I would find characters that I drew, I don't know, like 2008, like a long time ago. And they would actually become characters in this book. And they would inspire, like, I didn't realize at the time when I was drawing them that this character is actually going to be in this book.
Nice.
So it worked out really, really well for actually several characters, including one that I wrote a short story for, who ends up being a pretty pivotal character.
Nice. Yeah, it's almost like that guy that made the Last Man Standing. He pretty much based the whole story off his just character concepts.
Oh yeah, Dan Levisi. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know how he's doing to that though. I haven't really heard about that.
I think he's doing the end. Like he got a little bit screwed by some studios, and now he's actually working on like an animated version of it, and I think he's doing it himself too.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Well, good on him though.
No kidding.
So we got a question from the audience. What should I include in keyframe art portfolio, and what size do the pages have to be in the portfolio?
Portfolio can be. You can use any size pages. I think the larger the better. I mean, whatever's easy to carry around. It depends on if you're doing a physical portfolio or a digital portfolio. But I've seen, like, I used to carry around my portfolio on my iPad Mini.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it worked well. Got me some jobs. And now I bought an iPad Pro this year, tax write-off, and and now I have all my portfolio, all my images on that. So it really sort of depends. I think 11 by 14 is a good size if you're going to do like a physical hard copy because it allows people to see all the details, especially if you're doing a traditionally printed portfolio. And I forgot the rest of the question.
Just what he should include in keyframe art portfolio and what size are the pages?
Keyframe art portfolio.
Is that like animation?
So like for me, I think like key art is kind of like just the mood and the feel of the project, or is that like the poster?
I mean, they're pretty synonymous. You're working on essentially an illustration, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like how many pieces is he saying? He's asking how many pieces?
No, he's not asking about the number. He's just like what should he do, for the keyframe art portfolio? I mean, would you suggest like taking existing materials, like creating new worlds?
I think it's always more interesting to create new worlds, because if you're starting to take existing material, I mean, you can take existing properties, but don't hand in something that's just like a study of a scene from a movie.
Mm-hmm.
You want to show off what you can do, how your mind works creatively, and show an art director what you're capable of in that respect. But if you're motivated by the new Blade Runner movie, or heaven forbid Justice League, then show something new. Like, take a scene from that movie, but show how you would do it differently, or make improvements on it.
So Justice League, because it's the easiest.
Yeah.
Definitely do Justice League. You can make it look so much better.
Show your range too. Show, like, I know that it really depends on who you're showing your portfolio to. Some art directors like to look at portfolios with a lot of diversity, like a lot of range in style and genre. Some are only looking at specific things. So it kind of depends on who you're showing it to. So sort of gauge your portfolio, have a number of portfolios set up, and gauge your portfolio based on who you're going to show it to. I don't know if that answers the question.
Yeah, hopefully that answers. If you got any other questions, Diane, just let us know.
I wanted to talk to Gary.
You gotta talk to me first.
You ask permission. To Gary, please.
Go ahead.
So, I have another friend who's also working in the gaming industry, and goddamn it, ZBrush crashed just now. And he's doing game design, and he was talking about gameplay design, and I was just thinking what a great parallel that is to storytelling, because in game design you have sort of the same thing, because you, Spicer, were talking about rhythm, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's all about rhythm, right? Like, there's an overarching rhythm on the subtle part of the story, right? So, like, first you have some abilities, then you have to go through turmoil, then when you emerge victorious, you get another one that opens up bigger spaces, and then bigger spaces and bigger spaces, and it's just like a curve, right? It's just like an up and down curve that always goes a little bit higher the next time it goes up,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And like, we as humans, like, we really relate to that as a pacing thing, and that's both story wise, both gameplay wise, and both illustration wise, if you think about it, because you have in an illustration, you have parts where your eye rests, and other parts where it directs it to a more complex place, and then again it rests,
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Well, yeah, that contrast. Contrast is key for that. Like the ups and downs and everything that you're talking about. Yeah.
Exactly. I really love how everything like can go down to that. If you can master that rhythm, you can get good at almost anything.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I think that's a quest, like a life quest for a lot of people, though. For me, especially. Figuring out what the rhythms are, especially of like illustration that I'm working on. And just, trying to make it better,
No, for sure.
Yeah, I wanna tap into that, whatever it is, that ether, whatever it is, because I see people making the most ridiculous things, doing it with complete confidence, and just and getting a huge reaction. I'm like, I would never have done that ever. But yeah, there is that ether that you gotta, I don't know, just get into whenever, because I mean, y'all have all seen like projects that you're just like, I don't really get this, but it's just hugely successful.
Oh God, yeah.
You gotta have
Minecraft.
I think the only confidence that you actually need is the confidence in your own abilities to figure shit out.
Mm-hmm.
Are we talking about in the sense like you don't understand that it worked because you yourself wouldn't like it, or because you weren't sure that there would be appeal for it? Like, I kind of lost the conversation a little bit.
Well, it's more of just like there's this, I don't know, I'm just like being all romantic about it, but there's this wave, of pretty much like that taps into like pop culture, right? And and like people will throw stuff at this wave and it'll get tossed out, or it'll get sucked into the wave and everybody's gonna love it. And then
like hype.
yeah, and it's just like how does that even
That's
like
more marketing rather than.
I think that's marketing more than anything.
Yeah, that's more marketing.
I don't think it's just like it has to be marketing, because we've seen a lot of great content get passed up, and we've seen a lot of like crap content that gets like a lot of attention, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I think
look at Steam games.
Yeah, there's a lot of gold. I mean, like an example of like this is, I don't know if you guys remember this game. This was like a PS2 game. I think it was like not Perfect Dark. It was like Dark something. Very good game, but just no one heard about it, and it just did very poorly.
They probably messed up on their marketing campaign.
Probably. Think about Fight Club. Fight Club is an amazing movie. It didn't really become popular until it hit DVD. It was like in theaters for like a week.
Yeah.
You know?
Marketing is a big deal, yeah. It's like
for sure.
A great way to do this is through memes, right? Just make some outrageous memes that catches people's eyes.
Also influencers. You have people that like die-hard fans of like certain influencers on social media, and it's just a matter of one of those people say, "Oh, this is amazing," and all those fans, without thinking, think it's amazing.
Absolutely. Like if I make a game, first person I'm hitting up is PewDiePie. Period. I may not be a fan of his stuff, but like, how many people watch his videos? A lot.
A bajillions.
Yeah. So
I wasn't a fan of his stuff either, but if you look at his later stuff, he's actually pretty fucking cool, man.
I'm sure he's a great guy, but I just don't like a guy that's just like not funny, and for the most part like not really making that much great jokes, and he's really just kind of yelling into the microphone. It's just kind of like.
I mean, that's most. Think about it. That's what YouTube is mostly about.
That's true.
That's how he was at first. I hated him, but like if you look at the things he talks about like a lot of.
You went like political now or something like.
Yeah, a lot of political stuff, a lot of things, and he actually has a really good position on it, and very, very big influence.
Right.
And
he made a thing Nazi joke, and then like he started getting bashed on the news, and then even like J.K. Rowling went after him, and then he took the opportunity to actually stay up and fight instead of apologize.
Yeah.
And that just gave him a lot more popularity, and now since then he's become a lot more political and just like calls people out on their bullshit, and the social justice warriors on random weird white knights.
And because he does this, a lot of mass producers, because they didn't want to get tied up with him, right? They didn't want to get shut down by the opposing factor, which is the popular social justice warriors and whatever. They dropped him, right, as his sponsors, and that's the thing. That's what means the fact that he has a lot of power, right? And because he still remained popular, but at the same time, he has a very good position, a very good stable position, you know. So he's like fighting the wave.
Yeah, I mean I feel like that's inevitable. It just comes with age. You just stop being a jackass the older you grow. So,
or people reward you for being a jackass, and you just become a worse one. Because I mean, I was watching Joe Rogan on his latest, or not his latest one, but the one before, and he was talking about, basically we're all just a conglomeration of, here, I'm going to do this. Do people like it? Okay, I'm going to continue doing that. Do people not like this? Okay, I'm not going to do that anymore. And that's like who we are, And
yeah. I mean, the same is true about art, because somebody will do a fan art piece and it'll get a ton of recognition, and then everybody will do fan art pieces because they want to get that recognition.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I don't know if there'll ever come a point where fan art is not worshipped. But it's a very similar thing where people just kind of jump on the bandwagon as soon as something, gets them that recognition. It's like, I'll just keep doing this.
Oh yeah,
it works. It works.
So does that
recognition is not going to pay the bills. I reckon it's good to start with, just to put yourself out there and say, hey, I'm here. But then if you stick in it forever, like, it's not going to pay your fucking bills.
Yeah. Like, sorry.
Go ahead, sir.
I can remember. Not Dan Levisi, we just talked about him. Dave Raposa, like his Ninja Turtle illustrations, those from what I heard, what I understand, I might be wrong, were just like for him an experiment to see how he could push material in Photoshop and try to get the most realistic look. But because of the subject matter, it garnered him a lot of attention. Then he got, you know, he in the interim he got movie posters and all this work coming at him, and now he's doing he does a lot of his own projects, and each new project gets him that much more recognition.
It's like a snowball effect.
Yeah.
Wasn't he the trigger for the new Ninja Turtle movies?
Wait, what?
Trigger.
Wasn't David Souza the trigger for the new?
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I mean, his look a lot better than they looked in the movie.
Oh, for sure. The moment I see Michael Bay's name attached to anything, I just make it my mission to not see it, because it's just like,
unless you're really jonesing for lens flares in slow motion.
Yeah, or I mean, Pain and Gain I enjoyed. I'll give him that. But aside from that, it's just like, oh my god, like this guy pumps out so much garbage, and like the public keeps eating it up. I'm like, we're about to get Transformers 8 at this rate.
His camera work is fucking phenomenal, dude. Yeah, his movies are shit, but his camera work is fucking phenomenal. Like, people shit on him a lot for the movies he makes, and I'm like, yeah, you know, the stories suck and it's kind of, you know, dribble, but like in terms of action, cinematography, and all that stuff, and like things you've never seen before and you will never see anywhere else, Michael Bay should be at least acknowledged for that.
You're right. That's the thing. Why don't they just hire him for that? Like, okay, you'll be the action scene director. Like, why do we gotta give?
Because he'd be like, "Fuck you! I'm a director. I'm not the action scene director." That's the reason.
That's why.
It's to the point where you cannot do that.
And also, there's no one with that caliber of cash to actually fund him for the things that he can do alone.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, but it's just like Zack Snyder. I'm like, Zack Snyder needs not be directing story. Like, I love 300. I love it. I love 300, but like we had an expectation.
Don't talk about 300.
No,
It's garbage.
Not that bad. It's not that bad.
Pretty bad. Don't even mention it. I'm Persian, and that shit is offensive as fuck.
Oh, okay. I see what the issue is now.
I mean, like with Snyder in particular, he's an awesome like visual storyteller. Like, you cannot take that away from him. But yeah, he's freaking, you know, directing and actual
Scripts.
story.
Yeah.
That's where he kind of like.
Nice.
Can I put the subject a little bit backwards? So here's the reason why you should go see Michael Bay's movies. All right, because I know this sounds ridiculous, but hear me out. He's a major job creator for passionate sci-fi 3D artists that just do crazy shit that never get the opportunity in any other director or movie.
Now I kind of feel bad about hating him.
Yeah. Well, you should.
Can't take it back. You can take it back.
I still don't feel any bad.
Yeah, he's still a fucking asshole. What was that movie he did with Scarlett Johansson and Ewan McGregor?
The Island?
Yeah, that movie was good. I liked that movie.
I don't remember.
Oh yeah, I
It
like
wasn't
that as
bad.
well. I remember.
It wasn't bad. Sean Bean died like he does in every movie.
Oh, of course.
It has to happen.
That's standard.
Pretty much his entire resume, isn't it?
Fun fact:
I'm really good at writing shows and movies.
he was actually in the Silent Hill movie and he died.
Oh, was it really?
No, I think it's the only one he didn't die, right? He was always at the end alone.
He didn't die in that Seven Dwarf movie. Whatever the fuck it was called. Snow White and the Seven Dwarf.
Right?
No, I can't remember. He was basically the king, and he was Snow White's father, and he basically looks like Burger King. Like, his costume looks like Burger King in that movie. No, I'm not even kidding. He has the beard and everything, literally.
Maybe that's why he didn't die for marketing purposes.
Right.
Talking about the
Probably.
Huntsman movie?
Yeah, no, Huntsman, the other one.
I don't know.
They did another one around the same time.
Oh shit, the colorful one.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was called.
Yeah,
It was really bad.
I know what you're talking about. I'm surprised you saw it.
Did it have actors in it?
Only Sean Bean. That's
Sean
the rest
Bean
of
was-
them.
Yeah, he was playing a tree.
Sean Bean was in there for
You
like
have
2 minutes.
42 minutes. 42 minutes left.
I should have fucking painted it. Whatever.
Yeah, I'm gonna sculpt an entire body. Anatomically correct.
make fun of me. I'm already too shitty as it is. Oh my god. Can't
It's really disturbing when you use like drape brush for like stretched skin to give that look. It's kind of like grosses me out while I'm doing it.
Oh yeah, it looks like pounded meat.
Yeah, I concur.
I'm gonna bullshit it a little bit here, and just pretend that it was never there. Dynamash it and Dynamash it.
So Roger,
What's up?
how's that riot contest going, dude?
It's going. I might finish it this time.
Really?
Yeah.
You're gonna
It's
turn in a
yeah.
submission? What?
That's impressive, right? Yeah. I mean, there's enough time. So if I don't turn it in, it's because I just really don't want to.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I like it, man.
That's
It's
nice.
going good.
What is the contest?
For the Polycon forums, it's basically a yearly riot contest that they do where you either recreate a skin for the game or you create a whole new one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Wait, is it just a skin or can it actually be a new character?
I don't remember if they
Pretty
let
sure
you create a
it
new
has
one.
to be existing.
Yeah, like an existing character, and you just make a brand new skin for it.
I think there's a narrative category this year too.
Mhm.
They added like narrative and sound.
Oh,
I mean,
okay, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
In reality, you're basically can't create a brand new character. You're just using like a base idea for like weapons and such, but they're all pretty diverse.
Yeah, I got you. That's pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
So we got a question from the audience. What's the craziest thing you guys seen or heard of at a convention?
Craziest thing.
That's an interesting question.
I don't know why, but like my mind jumped straight to like furries, like doing something.
Oh,
shit.
About, like, art.
Had to bring that up, didn't you?
that's it. You just answered it. That's it. That's the answer to the question.
I was at CTN like 2 weeks ago in LA, and there's, I think his name's Goju, and works for Facebook, and it's not Tilt Brush, it's the other VR drawing program. I can't remember what it's called.
Medium?
Maybe, but he made it was like a hour-long session, and in like only 5 minutes he animated a witch over a cauldron he drew previously, and he animated her, so he got sparks flying from the cauldron and her waving her hands over it and other stuff, and so he was
Like-
animating through drawing. It was a bit
Oh.
mind-blowing.
So 2D, right? Nice.
Oh, it's 3D.
Brush grass.
Oh, it's 3D. Yeah, 3D.
Oh, I'm sorry, I can't hear Karen that well.
Oh shit, sorry. It's in VR.
Oh,
So
much better.
Who is this?
That's much
Too loud.
I'm sorry, guys. I just don't want to be a mic breather, you know.
Dude, there's a girl here.
My eardrums are all out of my ears. So it's
It's
just
like
like
hearing the voice of God.
Hi guys. But yeah, he was very insistent that VR is the future and we should all own a VR headset. And everyone's gonna be animating in VR soon,
Is he going to be just be handing those out? I hope he's going to be handing
right?
It's a bold statement, but I mean, not bold. I mean, I think it's pretty accurate. But
Yeah.
Can you imagine sculpting in actually like 3D with your hands without having to like spin a fucking flat canvas?
yeah,
Yeah,
if they
that's-
get the leap motion into it, they made an experiment with the Oculus Rift, and they combine an Oculus with a leap motion, the device that sort of detects three-dimensionally your hands and where they are in space very accurately.
Hmm.
And they were actually sculpting with their hands without any sort of gloves or anything. It was amazing.
Wow.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah, see that's the
That's
future
too
right
much work.
there.
No, that means I have to move around. No.
I'm gonna sit on my ass, move the pen back and forth.
Yes.
That was such a nice space, man. Oh my god.
But I mean, it's kind of weird how we go like straight traditional where we're carving stone and then, clay and all that, and then we go all digital, and then we just try to emulate the traditional way of sculpting. Again,
Yeah.
So I have
It's
his
the best of both
stuff
worlds,
up.
What was that, Karen?
I have his page up if you want to switch to my screen. Goro Fujita.
Oh,
so-
yes, I know.
Works for Facebook. So like this he did in 30 minutes. Which like he's duplicating stuff around, but he just showed how fast it can be to work in VR. And
Oh, of course.
paint in it. And that a lot of art directors could prefer it in that you're getting like you're getting something that's instead of flat, you can really get things going with animation and being able to look at the whole environment.
And you feel like you're actually there too, so you get a better sense too, probably, right?
Yeah. And he showed an animated short he did, and he did everything except sound in that program, including like storyboarding. So he'd storyboard it out and then just flesh it out on top of that.
That's what I was thinking. Like this would be great for storyboarding, for like some quick mock-ups of like a project or something.
Oh shit.
Apparently now the 3D in Photoshop is pretty stellar. Like there's I can't remember the artist. Yeah. I can't remember the artist, but he was doing these tutorials on how to do 3D in Photoshop and setting up like 3D scenes where you can actually move the camera through the scene in Photoshop. He's got Gumroad tutorials. I can't remember his name, but I really am super interested in actually here. What is this?
So do you transfer that 3D aspect of your 2D drawings into your like a digital book, like your book digitally? So
no, I don't think I would be competent enough to do that with any sort of confidence.
I mean, not actually like take your drawing and then make each individual like 3D, but like I've seen like endless canvases, where you can like go like let me try to word this correctly. Like you're doing everything in 2D, but you have the ability to look at it in like almost like a hologram. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it. I get what you're saying. Yeah, I don't know if I would incorporate that. I mean, in my head, the book has always been more along the tradition. Like I want a physical copy of the book.
Right.
Like wherever it goes from there is up to the fates.
Yeah, Mark Ellen says he's looking forward to VR and especially rotating and sculpting at the same time. Can't wait for that. And then Goro is real good, and he has an Instagram as well.
Nice.
Oh yeah. Can you put my Instagram in that link?
Absolutely not. But thanks for asking.
It's not that kind of show.
Yeah, it's not that kind of show where we help each other out. Yeah, Goro.Fujita. I'll put that link in there.
I give you a link on the. Hang on.
There's his Instagram.
Wait. Sorry. That's just a link to Instagram.
Gosh.
There you go.
Whatever. No, that's it. That's it. Yeah. If anybody else has an Instagram and you want to share it, just post it in the chat and I will send it out.
Okay.
Mine's like a bunch of selfies. Is that appropriate?
Oh, of course.
Totally not.
Everybody likes looking at your selfies, especially your clown one, your most recent one. Jesus, like every time I see it, I'm like, ah! I'm like, oh.
Well, I had a friend give me crap because he's like, every time I open my Windows thing, Facebook pops up. It's just your face, and it's December, so it's time to change it. And I'm like, all right, added a Christmas. Done.
I love how everybody puts a link and then Gary's like, Instagram, Gary Lake.
Yeah, just fucking look it up.
Just look it up. I'm not going to put a link for you.
You can do a search.
People aren't going to do a search, Gary. They're going to click a link.
Yeah, man.
All right.
Make it easy for people. Attention span of a goldfish.
I don't know what's actually going on here with the mesh.
Architect, dude. You gotta make it convenient.
Is it because I have groups? Oh, it's because I have groups. There we go.
All right, guys. We have 32 minutes
Oh, great! Not nearly enough time. That's awesome.
There's another thing I saw at GDC last year
Mm-hmm.
that blew my mind a bit, which I might have touched on this before, which was that realism is becoming so accessible with 3D scans that in maybe 10 years' time, stylization will be the new hotness and what's sought after and in demand.
I feel like that's already the
And-
case.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. I feel like that's already the case.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause,
All
like,
right, well,
like
let's be
hyper
10 years 1 year.
like Hyper Light Drifter comes to mind like instantly when you mentioned that. You know, as a game, pretty much any game that has like a toon shader also comes to mind. And I really feel like those games are where the real magic's at too, because they can be timeless. Like I feel Super Mario is timeless. Yeah, it's an 8-bit game, but just that in its own is why it's almost like a style choice now, you know. Like whereas Call of Duty comes out this year, it's like, oh, it's the most realistic Call of Duty yet, and like next 2 years, and I was like, this is ass. It's not even real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the whole like photorealism being accessible to the stylized. Yeah, because I always, you know, with like each new technology, we always think we're gonna lose like a bunch of jobs or whatever, and and it's like, oh, well, now they can just scan someone, and I'm for sure they're gonna have an algorithm where you just say this is a face, this is an arm, this is a hand, and it'll automatically topologize and UV it for you, and all that stuff, and just be completely automated. But I don't think. But again, like creativity can never be automated. I don't think.
Stylization is always probably going to be popular, and
Always.
Maybe I can finally get a job without a problem.
Right.
How do you guys do panel loops again? I totally forget.
It's under edge loops,
Edge loops.
under geometry.
Ah,
And
thank you,
Gary, the real Mark Ellen or E.H. Lynn says amazing work.
Thanks. Oh, thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Hey, you're welcome.
GG's all around.
And Chris Jones says, good work, everyone. Wish I was there. We'll have to get you on the next one.
So why isn't Panos loop? Like, how do I make Panos loop work again?
Oh my
my God.
god. Oh.
Roger, I think Roger's the one to talk to about that.
What?
So don't I just mask it and hit panel loops or something?
You have to create a actual
Group?
what do you call it? There you go. Like
It's
polygroup.
it has to
Alright.
be its own polygroup. Yeah.
You
Alright,
gotta delete
the ones that I don't want.
Right.
Oh, I gotta duplicate it, and then okay, I understand.
Yeah. You
Duplicate
actually
it.
got to work. I'm sorry.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Arsh.
So there you go. All right, so let's delete that. Command Shift A, and then panel loops. There we go. Okay, thank you. Perfect. Looked exactly what I wanted. Looks just like the pyramid head.
Yeah, it just looks. That's great, man. Good job.
I think this needs to be a little crisper.
Always stuff like when it comes to creative stuff, right? Like for entertainment media, if it's not for movies, then you should probably always go a little bit exaggerate, a little bit stylized, because it just pushes the characters a little bit more and their motivations and everything. You know?
Yeah, I mean, even traditional, Renaissance painters, like quote unquote stylized their work. Like they would make the little more block here to show form and whatnot. Because
Yeah, exactly.
it's the whole point of doing art. If you're just gonna copy it, just take a photo of it. Don't waste your time. But
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I'll never get people who are, whoa, this graphic looks so real. I'm like, yeah, that's why it's boring.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ooh.
No, that's true. Like I feel the same way. Sometimes people show like hyper realistic sculpting and stuff. I'm like, yeah, it's impressive. Like I would never be able to do it in lifetime, but I still think it's kind of boring.
One of the things that it's actually relatively easy to do, but you can impress a lot of people with it because they just don't know the secret. Like if you could just take a photo and just paint it like exactly, make it look just like the thing. Like if you really think about it, the only real skill you need from that is the ability to see value, color, and shape. That's it.
It's observation skills. I mean, that's a lot of what painting is anyway. It's just depending on, it's like shifting how you see.
Exactly. But you know, if you ask that same artist to just focus on that, okay, now just make like a man from imagination.
Yeah, exactly.
It's gonna be a little tough for him to do that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you practice the skill to copy a photo like so much, right? And then you're like, okay, now how can we use this guy?
Yeah, because
the studio, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that's great if you want to if you want to be a porter. There's a place for it, yeah, absolutely, in the industry, but it's just not like it's not really creative work at that point. It's just more like.
Yeah, and the thing is that if you're trying to get a job like in the movies, you need to be able to do the hyper realistic stuff.
Yes.
I would love the chance to work in. I wanted the chance to work in movies, but my stuff in general is not super not realistic. So yeah, I've sort of like, you know what, I think maybe animation would be a lot of fun.
I mean, I think even in studios now, they're just kind of like for the artwork, like the what they did for like even the Avengers. I think they just take photos of like Chris Evans and Tony and Robert Downey Jr. and just paint over it. So it's not like it really takes like.
Andy Park is the concept artist for the Marvel stuff, and I've never seen his process, but everything he uploads, I think he just copies the face.
Yeah.
And he paints the rest of it.
Which is
like basically has the face. Yeah, of course. I mean, he probably has like 6 months to come up with like 40 designs.
Exactly.
Carla Ortiz does a lot of stuff for Marvel too, and I think she paints hers.
Oh, Carla Ortiz, you said?
Yeah, Carla Ortiz.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you do mean like a paint over, or like he does?
No, I think like I've seen her work, so I'm pretty sure she does it from scratch.
Oh wow! So yeah, that's impressive. You know, to just get the likeness real quick.
She's phenomenal though.
For the director, it doesn't really matter, right?
That's the thing. Yeah, they don't care.
Yeah, for the director, it's like okay, just okay. We need this. We need these designs. I need something to choose between, right?
I think Naughty Dog is like that too. They don't really, from what I hear, they don't have like. I mean, obviously you got to be mindful, but like, you know, just get it right. You know,
get it done, yeah.
Over anything, like they don't want to rush the process if it's going to compromise the quality. Which unfortunately is what's been happening a lot of, even with game studios. Like Capcom is such a big, offender to this. Like Devil May Cry 4 and a bunch of other games were just poorly done and rushed, and then they don't come out good, and they're just like, oh, it's the fans' fault, or it's just studio's fault.
It's
like,
the fans' fault.
they're complaining about making Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Like, oh well, we'd love to support the game, but the fans just aren't really like, you know, put in their like their chips. I'm like, it's not our job. It's not our responsibility to enjoy your product. Like, make a good product and we'll enjoy it, you know.
No, they really fucked up our Marvel vs. Capcom characters. They look fucking horrendous. They look so bad.
They're like, oh, we need this done in 6 months. Why? Because I need a yacht. I was like, okay.
Hey man,
the game looks so bad because at the same time when they announced it, Dragon Ball Z Fighters got announced, and that game is freaking incredible. Like, look-wise, it looks so good and it runs so smooth. And it's like when you look at Dragon Ball Z Fighters, and then you go watch Marvel vs. Capcom, the new one looks like a old gen game.
More or less.
That's how bad it looks.
More or less, yeah. I mean, it's just like it just boils down to that whole thing about just, you know, just don't rush the process, you know. Don't tell them you're gonna have a game done in a time frame that you know is not realistic.
Yeah.
People are more willing to wait for a good product than.
Oh, me too, man. Like, it's just like quality over quantity. You know, kind of goes back to that old saying.
We were having this conversation yesterday with Spicer that like games don't excite us anymore because everything just seems so bland and boring. Like,
the indie scene is going to take over games pretty soon, I'm sure of it. With games, like game creation being more accessible nowadays, like anybody can learn the Unreal Engine and just use a lot of like prefabricated code even. I'm pretty sure like games are going to be more common than ever before. And they'll probably give, these bigger companies a run for their money.
Yeah, because I only need 8 bits. That's all I need. Like, as long as the game's fun, 8 bits is all I require for my games, you know.
How much fun did we have playing that Sloth game, you know?
Yeah, right?
Sloth. Oh my god. It's so funny to play with you guys, you know?
Yeah. And so we have a question from the audience. Christopher Green is asking, is it true that it's easier to break into map painting and environment design than character design? What position is there a shortage crisis?
UI.
Technical artists.
That's true.
What'd you say, Karen?
Sound.
What'd you say, Karen?
Technical artists are very hard to come by, apparently, from what I've seen. From what I've
What does that encompass?
You're basically a tools programmer for artists, so it helps if you are an artist first in order to do that.
But
It's like pipeline, making things faster.
cool.
So have you ever dabbled in that, Karen?
But there's a struggle. If you're an
Barely.
artist.
So
there's a struggle.
Oh, go ahead, Aaron.
I was saying that's the sort of fight, right? They're so rare because to be a good technical artist, you need to be a good artist. And if you spend the time being a good artist, you want to do art, not technical stuff for other artists.
Yeah, that's like teachers too. Like it's hard to get a great teacher because if they can work in industry, then they might be doing that instead. So.
Yeah. Another one is UI artist. There's a lot of good UI artists, but also there's a lot of companies that try to find UI artists, and it's very hard because a lot of people who do concept art don't necessarily want to do UI.
Yeah.
But there's tons of people who want to do character art. Tons.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah,
but-
and it's... Oh, go ahead, Gary.
But I think the more versatile you are, if you can do characters and environments, all that stuff, that's great. But it depends on what you're driven by too. Like you don't compromise what you want to do just to get a job. Like I've never learned 3D. I've had so many people go, you need to learn 3D. You have to learn 3D, or you have to learn environments, or you have to learn, how to draw vehicles. And I mean, if given enough time, I know I can draw those things, but it's not what I'm passionate about. So I spend most of my time designing characters for myself and for other games. And
so how do you tell the difference between something you're not into as opposed to something that's going to challenge you and you're just too lazy to do it?
I think you can feel it. You can feel it.
But I mean, like, sure. I mean, like, everybody asks, like, how do you become a great artist? You fucking work at it. I mean, that's always, everybody knows the answer, and everybody knows, that they're being lazy or it's something I'm not into, and then confusing the two because maybe everybody wants to be a great character artist, but you'd make really awesome props all fucking day, and you would, but it's just not what you're into. You know what I mean? Yeah,
I mean, I've asked art directors, like, I want to learn how to do vehicles better, and one of them was like, do you want to learn it for yourself? Is that something you really want to do? And no, like, I want to design, fantasy characters and stuff like that. That's what I want to do. And he said, be true to who you are as an artist. And that's what I've been doing.
Nice. Mm-hmm. I think it's not so much that people are lazy, but there are easier methods to learn things. Like, I think, like, for me to learn anatomy on my own would have probably taken me much longer than if I just took a Scott Eden course. But yeah, I mean, I think laziness is when people when you give them the answer and they're just like, yeah, no, I haven't really done the work yet. I'm just, that's when it's like, okay, clearly not.
Then they blame it on lack of time.
It's like, oh, I don't have time. Make time. What do you mean you don't have time? You make the time.
Yeah, if it's something you're passionate about, the time is there.
Exactly. Like, dude, I come home at like 8 p.m., 9 p.m. sometimes, and I'm up to like 1 a.m. studying. I just worked from 9 a.m. and I'm still up. So I just made the time.
Stop playing fucking Madden. Stop playing fucking Call of Duty. Stop fucking watching fucking all these shows every goddamn day.
Yeah.
It's like,
stop hanging out with your kids. Just
just like lock them in a box and put some wine in there.
I mean, like, if you got a family, fucking just forget about that.
Right.
Just take time.
Look, Julian knows all about it.
Yeah. My wife's and kids have been dying for me to go grocery shopping. And I'm just like, fuck you guys.
Right. They're literally starving.
I'm an artist.
I am arting. Please.
There is Amazon.
I'm just kidding. My kids are not starving. Please don't show up at my house.
Can't you see I'm arting right now?
If ZBrush is rocking,
don't come a knocking. 17 minutes. So at least whenever I'm looking at LinkedIn, which is, it seems like the only reason I have LinkedIn is to congratulate other people on their work anniversaries. But other than that, what I see on LinkedIn is that visual effects artists, like Mark Ellen said in the chat, and then also any type of technical director. I see TD, I see those abbreviations more than anything else on LinkedIn when it comes to this field. And so, yeah, if you want to be a technical director, technical artist, definitely do that. And visual effects, like I hear it from every, because at my university we have people come in from the industry, from like Leica and Naughty Dog and all these other places. They come in, and each time they're asked the same question, and each time it's the same answer. It's visual effects. Like, to have a visual effects reel is highly unlikely to see, and then even a good one is like a unicorn covered in gold. So yeah.
Also, to answer the actual question that the person posed, yes, it's easier to get into environment art than character art. It's easier to learn. It's sometimes even more fun. I have a friend who actually chose this. He had a choice to make a friend Peter, who works in Germany. I'm not sure exactly what company. And he got into environment, and he's doing great. He always has a lot of jobs and a lot of things to do, and he's enjoying it.
It might also depend on the region you're in too.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
I'm in Boston. There's nothing here, dude.
Yeah, I'm in the Bay Area, and there's a ton of jobs, but there's also no jobs. You know, because this market out here is completely saturated with artists.
I see.
Well, hopefully that answers your question. So we got that sorted, and we have...
Anybody knows that I just went back to Photoshop?
15 minutes. Yeah, I saw that. I was like, well, okay, so you're just going to do a 15-minute sketch. Very cool.
Fuck it. I ran to a wall. I don't have the time to figure it out. I'm just fucking doing this. I don't care. I'll paint it. How much time? 15?
Yes, 15 minutes.
Hey, Siri, set timer for 5 minutes. I'll switch to the painting in the last time.
Your timer is set for 5 minutes.
There you go. Gotta love them new phones, man. That's looking really dope, Karen.
Thanks. It's a bit messy design-wise, but whatever.
It's an old-ass amulet, right?
That's right.
So,
I didn't know what they were doing back then.
Right?
That's crazy. What
Yeah,
the
know about the craftsmanship back then. Maybe you do it better than they did. You know?
The craftsmanship.
The pageantry.
I'm sort of regretting using an orange juice material for the lifeblood protection. Whatever.
Hey, that's vitamin C, baby. That's that is lifeblood.
Yeah, these creatures are looking good. So what's some of y'all's favorite creatures?
Pyramid Head.
Everything in Pan's Labyrinth.
Mm.
Oh, like
So
in general? Like
what-
creatures in general?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So what
That
is it
movie-
about Pan's Labyrinth that got you?
Just the design work, the story itself was beautiful, but the creature design just disgustingly good. I mean, it
Some
helped.
were
Like,
actually disgusting too.
yeah, I mean, it helped like the performances. You know, Doug Jones. I think it was Doug Jones who's one of the character performer. Oh my God, his work is just. Man, I am super expressive tonight.
Words.
His work is just, I mean, right? God, you get it.
We got it. Anybody else?
There's so many options. I really gotta stop and think about it.
So which one freaked you out the most?
Oh, like horrified me. Again, so many options, you know.
So many
I haven't
words.
watched it, but there's this movie where it's that director that wears the hockey shirt all the time. I can't think of his
Kevin
name.
Smith?
Yes, there's a
Oh.
movie he made about like a guy that turns into a sea lion or no, a walrus.
Oh,
a
that's
walrus.
yeah, that's
Tusk.
Oh
horrifying.
my god, the walrus. Ah.
So I didn't
Oh, yeah,
watch
that's
it, but my
what?
coworker was just showing me pictures, and
Oh,
it stuck with me.
That's
like,
amazing.
it,
That
Uh,
movie is.
I was the lead concept artist for that fucking film. I'm no joke. I worked at Robert Kurtzman's Creature Corp, and he was the outsource for the costume.
For real, that's amazing.
Holy shit,
That's
dude.
badass.
That was my first movie credit.
Hey, at least nobody like bashed it.
Oh, I don't
It's
care.
like you
I
should
mean,
have waited,
it is what
and
it
people
is.
be like, "Oh my god, it was terrible."
I'm sure the movie's not easy to watch. The
It's
the
not
creature
easy.
itself was just
Horrible to
it is
watch.
what
you
it
said
is,
you,
but-
you said you were the lead concept artist.
in studio for the walrus costume. So like I was still in college. I just happened to know a bunch of people in the studio, and they're like, "Hey, you know ZBrush, you can draw. I need somebody to like do some 3D work for me." So
Oh god! And then
Little
they
did
just
you
tried
know.
it. You're like, what the hell?
yeah, the next thing I know, we're like pitching movies, and I'm like, "Wait a minute, this is for real happening."
So you like Just Along? Did you see Accepted? So yeah, that guy, right? So we're gonna make him into a walrus.
Yeah, well, like when it was pitched, it was kind of
How the
an
hell did
obscure
they
idea.
even pitch that movie, dude? Like that movie's fucking horrible to watch, but it's such a crazy idea.
I could never stomach. It's just like it just seems like a surgical movie. It was like nope, nope,
It's,
nope,
it's
nope,
basically
nope.
like the human centipede, but with one doctor
Man.
and one subject.
Fuck that movie, dude. Fuck that
no.
movie.
that movie
Human
is so-
Centipede took a piece of my soul. I felt it. Like I finished watching the movie and I was like, and I like looked at my chest and I put my hand. I was like, wow, there's a little bit of my soul that just left. Just
Yeah, can I talk about that? I was fortunate enough to be wise enough to not watch that, and I
Oh,
really
man.
didn't want to hear about it.
Yeah, that's
I never
where
watched-
horror
I
movies
didn't watch
stopped like being fun to me after that. Like before I was like, oh, heads are being chopped off. Wow, yeah. And like stuff like that. And then I see Human Centipede, I'm like, yeah, maybe horror movies aren't that great.
Damn.
Like,
It broke around. That movie broke
it's
around. Holy
more
crap.
horrible for me because I was like, I'm gonna eat. What should I watch when I eat?
Sick.
Two girls.
Dude. Fucking gross.
All right, we got 9 minutes, 40 seconds.
Get on my
I
back.
did enjoy Human Sentai Pad myself.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
Human Sentai Pad. Oh man.
But South Park knows how to make fun of stuff, you know.
All right, guys. So all those in the audience that are watching, thank you very much for the engagement, for all the questions. We always love getting those. If you are watching us on Facebook, we're at zbrushhangout.com. If you're watching us on Twitter and YouTube, you already know where we are. But definitely let us know who you think has won tonight. Is a result off. So let's go through. We have Ad with the delicious tongue pincher. We have
Yeah.
what?
I wanted to say that it's a redesign of the numb body creature
No body creature.
from the
Alrighty.
games.
And then we got Gary with the skin stray jacket. There we go.
I don't really. It's sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we have Julian with my last night's date. All right. And we've got Karen with the blood. What was this called? The blood
It's
amulet?
the Agleophotis.
We're gonna call it the Agla. She's got the Agla over there. And then we have Kings with the inverted zits. And we've got Raph with his 5-minute sketch. of Pyramid. And we've got Roger with a very, very sexy face. Okay, so put in the chat who you think is going to win, and they will be crowned champion at the end of the night. So far, let's see where's the scorecard. I think Gary's got one.
Never
Gary's
again.
got one. Karen's got like 4.
Karen's
Nice.
always gonna win.
Karen always.
Yeah, so she's our champion still. And but yeah, again, put your But who you think's winning in the chat? Add Gary, Julian, Karen,
You don't need to mention
Kingsletter,
me.
Raph, and
Yeah, don't bother me.
Roger.
Don't even bother but mention my name at this point. I'm out. Done.
So put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. So far, we got one for Roger. We got one for Roger.
Oh,
Don't
I
get
took it
used
from
to it.
Karen.
Don't get used to it, all right?
Bitch.
All right, so ZBO messed up.
Well,
Here we go.
there goes that.
Karen's got 4, obviously. That's not a
Must have some
rocket.
friends watching. 504.
Right?
You pay them off.
Yeah.
And Gary's got 1. I believe he's got 1 win.
Did you have a win? The last time I was on is.
There you go. If you wanna see my thing,
Let me see if I can get my mother to vote for me. Let's see if she's on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
I put a link in the chat.
I am playing it now. Alright. So there's the 3D for Adonis Lazy. See how much time we got left.
Like 30 minutes, right?
All right, we got 5 minutes 30 seconds. All right, we can go with one question. Everyone gets answered individually. All right. Add. What job besides the one that you have now would you love to try?
Animator. I would
Why?
love to be a full-time animator.
Why is that?
I just love animating.
Whatever, dude. You already do that for a living, dude.
Well, my main is sort of like design.
You
but I-
animate. You already do. But what besides what you are? You know what? You don't get to answer. Gary.
Teacher.
Thanks. Why?
Because I never went to art school, and I kind of like the idea of giving back to artists or aspiring artists who want to get into the industry. Yeah. There you go.
Cool. Julian.
I basically took my answer as
You
teacher.
know what? Cab driver.
Captain. Gigolo, and also Goldfish Whisperer.
Ooh, man.
Let's see.
All right. So why would you want to be a teacher? Same reason.
I just being able to just kind of talk to people and pick people's brains, but also kind of guide people through problem solving in a way that maybe other people wouldn't be able to.
Mm-hmm.
One of the issues I had with going through school is just being dyslexic and people not knowing how to teach someone that's dyslexic. So,
Gotcha.
a lot of that. Why don't you understand? Like, well, you're not really showing me how to do this correctly. Like, well, you're just a bad student. Like, maybe you're just a shitty teacher.
And Karen.
Maybe a makeup artist, just like
Mm,
beauty and
yeah.
effect stuff, which is funny because I like barely wear makeup because I can't be bothered, but I love it, so I seem to hoard it, yet I don't use it. But I love looking at it. It's so cool how you can just transform yourself.
And King's Letter. What job would you do besides the one you have now?
So obviously character artist doesn't count. I would probably say astrophysicist or some form of a scientist that it's
And
kind of
why?
like scientist, I would say. I just really like the unknown and love to explore the unknown and get to see the unknown first, aside from the scientists who work on it.
That's so weird. My middle name is unknown.
And
See
Raph.
what you did there? I agree with what you did there.
Actually, concept artist would be nice because I actually never have done that as a job. So cool to actually do it and get paid for it.
Aww.
Getting paid.
And Roger.
I think like some kind of practical effect company. That'll be awesome. Because I like, especially when they mixed both in movies, like CG and practical effects. I think that's when you actually get the best results. So delving into that would be awesome as well.
Nice. Alrighty, so we have 2 minutes. 2 minutes. And again, I'm going to ask everyone in the audience, put in your vote for who you think has won for tonight. You have Ad, Gary, Julian, Karen, Kingsletter, Raph, and Roger. Alrighty, so far Roger's got the vote. Got the only vote so far.
For 15 minutes, I got a little farther than I hoped.
All right. See what survival makes you do?
Oh my god.
I would get so much more work done if someone just pointed a gun to my head.
I got a book for you after the show that you might help you out with productivity, man.
Oh yeah, before yeah, definitely remind me of that. Ad, you were talking about Steam It earlier. What were you saying?
Oh yeah, there's a website called Steam It where basically you post your stuff and you get money every time someone likes it, upvotes it, or comments. And basically, well, you get Steam It dollars that you actually have to convert to bitcoins and then convert it to real dollars. And the ratio of their Steam It dollars, from what I understand, is almost 1-to-1 with US dollars. Do you want me to post?
So you see, likes do matter.
See, likes get you paid.
The
Right.
way that we think it works is they get revenue for traffic to their website, and they give like a percentage to the users.
Based on their visitor action. All right, so we have a vote for Karen. Oh, and time is up. Put those pens down. All right, so we have Karen and Roger and Gary in the running right now. So I need one vote. I need one more vote to break this. We have Gary, Karen, and Roger. And while we're waiting, Awakened is asking how many people work from home as designers.
I do. That's Gary. Gary does.
Gary speaks in third person.
You're damn right, Gary speaks in third person.
He speaks in third and first. I'm damn right Gary does. And he's not lying.
I'm confusing to talk to.
Oh my god.
Alrighty. Come on, one more vote. We just need one more. Tap it in there. I know you're watching. Yeah, you want to type in that vote.
All right, so who's the top contenders again?
It's Gary, Karen, and Roger.
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 All right.
Nice.
Okay, it's probably not in the right place, but that's all right.
Uh-oh, K-Mac's giving it up. She's giving it up to Gary. She gave her vote to Gary. She went through altruism.
No, dude, I just want to get out of here. All right?
Alrighty, everybody. Thanks for watching. Again, we will be back soon, probably next week, with a good friend of mine, a special guest, Frederick Lynn. And I want to thank everybody for being on the show. Thank you very much. Y'all do amazing work as usual. And just say bye, YouTube.
Bye, YouTube.
Bye, YouTube.
YouTube.
Bye.
Bye.